Thank you for coming.
Hey, Margaret!
Well, they say that if you're going to make it at stand-up comedy, you have to do it before the age of 40. Well, I've been doing some research on the internet, and we know everything on the internet is correct, right? And according to the internet, when we were about 4 years old, we laughed an average of 300 times a day. But at 40, it takes 3 months to get that in. But the good news is, studies show at 70, it starts coming back. Where's my 4-year-olds? Over 70. So we'll just show the rest of them. Well, 19 years ago, I was internet dating. Yes, I was a modern middle-aged woman. First I tried eHarmony, and they contacted me and told me my standards were too high. Apparently no prison record was a little much. So I went to christianmingle.com and I met my sweetie Nelson. We have been married 18 years. And when I did my internet dating, I had my checklist. I did. It was the usual checklist. Never been featured on America's Most Wanted. Puts the toilet seats down. Some of you women forgot to look for that. Single. Widower. Employed. Oh, pastors, no. I am not going to be a pastor's wife, I told him. I'm not going there. I cannot be a pastor's wife. But the deciding factor was that he listed the culinary arts as his interest.
All right.
Well, my husband is a strong believer that our enemy, Satan, has power and secrecy. So we promised right up front before we got married we were going to confess all our previous sins, our creative misbehaviors, our faults. Okay, we just laid it out. Now, my list was a little bigger than his. First grade, I flushed my friend's crayons down the toilet. Middle school, I put all the wrong answers on the exam until the kid who was cheating off of me turned his paper in. High school, I put the chemistry teacher's suit jacket up the flagpole. These are all true, by the way. And nursing school, I took the CPR dummy, Recessi Annie, set her on the professor's toilet. She was wearing a hospital gown and smoking a cigarette. Oh, and when the Catholic School of Nursing closed, I took a souvenir. I did. I took the crucifix off the wall. I returned it 5 years later. Don't judge me. And I told him, I am not your usual pastor's wife. I think he figured that one out. But the one I was really concerned to tell him is, I cannot cook. Now I knew that his deceased wife had grown up with Mennonite and Amish women. I think they're good in the kitchen. My mother's favorite two dishes, well actually they were her only dishes, was canned Campbell's soup and hamburger helper. Would help if she'd included the hamburger. So I was honest up front. He said he thought I was just being modest, but I warned him. Now, I have a tip for you ladies. If you're not good in the kitchen, it's all about the presentation. If I invite you to my house for dinner, there'll be tablecloth and placemats and centerpiece and napkins and napkin rings, and just be sure to pray after you eat. So, the other day, my sweetie came home and he said, Margaret, I know that the kitchen is a challenge for you. I know you don't enjoy cooking. So I want to do anything I can to make it easier. If it would help to buy some new pots and pans, go for it. If it would help to get some new kitchen gadgets, an appliance, anything. So 2 weeks later, he came home and there it was. Tall, shiny, top of the line vending machine. Well, I assure you, getting married in your 20s when you're young is totally different than getting married in your middle and late 50s. Completely different. When you're young, you know, you take your spouse's hand and you just go through life, and things gradually start to change, but it's gradual. And then around 40, it begins. The vision starts to change. Reading glasses, that's the beginning. And there's a reason for that. Things don't happen for coincidence. Just about the vision, the time the vision starts to change, the metabolism goes on strike. If you're young, don't worry about it. It's very gradual, very gradual. And then gravity starts rearranging parts of the places you want to go. Very gradual, young people don't worry. But then one day you get new glasses. You stand in front of the mirror.
Oh, yeah, that's
And you look at your partner. Just stop wearing glasses. It's no big deal. Well, we were engaged and I started thinking about things like prearranged marriages. Now, I know this is not politically correct. We're not supposed to talk about it, but there are cultures and religions where the groom doesn't see the bride until after he's made the commitment, right? So I started thinking about this. You know, the bride, she comes to the wedding and she's wearing the tent, right? After he makes the commitment, he lifts the tent flap. Now, you know it had to have happened. Nobody talks about that, but it had to have happened. So I'm thinking about our wedding night. And Nelson, you know, he's such a gentleman. He's so polite, he wouldn't say it. So, now I'm coming out of the closet. I've never told anyone this. I went to a plastic surgeon. Got a tummy tuck. Doesn't that sound sweet? Sweet little procedure, tummy tuck. Medical profession doesn't tell you the truth about tummy tucks. First of all, this is not a guaranteed for the rest of your life procedure. And secondly, it is major surgery, people. It is major surgery. I mean, the first time I was able to get up out of bed, they call it abdominoplasty, okay? The first time I was able to get up out of bed and look in the mirror for the first time, 6 years later, I stood in front of the mirror with the new glasses. It wasn't central anymore. The belly button, the navel, it was to the left. Well, always try to look at the positive side of things. If there's ever a body to identify, so this is why I will never be getting a facelift. I know at my age it could be helpful, but with my history, I would be Picasso face. An eye here and an eye here. And when you went to talk to me, you wouldn't know where to look. No, can't do that to my friends and family. No facelifts, no. Well, my sweetie tends to attract peculiar people. And that brings me to an elder in his church. Let's call him Brian, because that's his name, Brian. Well, Brian had 3 college-age sons, and they had tickets to the U of L basketball game, and they invited their dad to go with them. It must have been Halloween because for some reason people were encouraged to wear costumes. So Brian thought, I'll wear a stormtrooper's helmet and no one will know that I'm a white-haired old guy. So he goes to the game, he's got his helmet on, the game starts. Brian is in misery because the sound inside that helmet is bouncing off his earlobe. So Brian, this is a true story, guys, this is true. So the guy decides, what do I have that I can plug my ears? He took his chewing gum, put it in both ears. Now he is enjoying the game. He is getting into it. The game's over. He can't get the gum out of his ears. He goes home and his wife can't get the gum out of his ears. She drives him to ER. Now, I'm just picturing Nurse Ratched, the head nurse in ER. And she's giving report to the change of shift nurses. And in bed 3, we have Mr. Anderson, who arrived at 0100 with gum in his ears. Please have the gum removal kit ready for Dr. Siebel when he arrives. Well, Dr. Siebel arrived and he couldn't get the gum out of his ears. So he goes home. The next day he goes to his primary care physician. He couldn't get the gum out of his ears. He referred him to the gum removal specialist. He got the gum out of his ears and he said, Brian, due to the HIPAA law, I can never use your name, but believe me, every colleague, every friend I come in contact with will hear about my patient with the gum in his ears. And now you've heard it too. Well, Brian's not the only one with embarrassing moments in his life. My sweetie and I it was really my sweetie's 70th birthday party. And June 1st, outside, I'm talking to a distant relative of his. And as we're talking, I see it on his forehead. A mosquito. Now, I'm just real, folks. If you have bad breath, I will give you a breath mint. If you are unzipped, I will zip you up. Oh, if you're a woman, I if you're a woman and you have a chin hair, I will pull it for you. So, being the red-blooded American I am, I slapped that mosquito. Oh, there were 15 more. They're called freckles. I quickly went, oops, got it. Well, another embarrassing event was we went to a dinner party and we were seated across the table from an elderly couple, and the man was apologizing that he couldn't hear real well because he had no hearing aids. And so I said, "Oh, sir, where did you get your hearing aids?" And he said, "From the vets." I said, "It's amazing what they can do with our pets now." Yeah, Sweetie just lowered his head, shoveled in another bite of pasta. It was a week later before I realized it was the Veterans Hospital and he didn't have a friend at the veterinarian clinic. Well, I used to have TMJ disorder. If I would open my mouth very wide, my jaw would lock open. And sometimes we had to go to ER to get it closed. So I was real careful, like I didn't eat Big Macs in public. You know, I was really careful about this. Well, we visited a new church. And when you're a visitor in a new church, you just want to blend in. You don't want to stand out, right? So we pull in the parking lot and there's the visitors parking sign, and we'll walk a mile into that church before we admit that. We go into the lobby and there's the nice little welcome first time visitors table. Oh no, we walk quickly past that. You know, this 30-member church may know that we're new. So, where do visitors want to sit in a church? Yes, in the back. No, this church had a special reserved section for first-time visitors, right in the front, in the middle. Not near the aisle where you could escape. No, in the front, in the middle. And let's just all admit that different churches have different cultures, different ways of worshiping. Okay, some churches, they hold the little hymnal. Some, they have the over screen with the words. Some, they just fold their hands during worship. Some are very active. Some are the total surrender. So I am determined. I am going to blend in. So worship starts. Stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. I am blending until sit down, the preacher starts to preach, and I yawned. Yes, I yawned, locked wide open. Sitting in the front, locked open. Okay, so I've got to get over. Sitting in the front. Just blend back down the aisle. Well, I've never been back to that church. But rumor has it they have a new special reserved first-time visitor section. And that is on the platform facing everyone so everyone can enjoy the entertainment. So Sweetie and I went on a road trip with a group of friends. And we're going on the road trip and we need to refuel the tank. So we stop and the guys are doing the manly thing. They're putting the gas in the tank. And the ladies decide to go to the restroom. Now, have you ever noticed that it's a team activity? So the team, we go to the restroom. Now I know there's a reason for the teamwork. I came out, I got separated from the team. Couldn't find any of them. See the minivan, run, jump in, sit down, buckle up, look around. I'm the only white face in the whole minivan.
Oh, man.
Well, relocated many times in my lifetime. And one of the moves was from Ohio to Kingsport, Tennessee. Anyone been to Kingsport, Tennessee? All right, it's beautiful, isn't it? It is, it's a beautiful place. Our home was surrounded by, picturesque mountains. It was gorgeous. So as they were unloading the moving van, a little kid came up on his bicycle and he said, "Ma'am." I said, "Yes, sweetheart." "They found a copperhead snake in your little girl's bedroom last week." Bless his heart. I walked around the entire time we lived here like this. Inside and out, I wasn't going to take any chances. This is why I've had years of chiropractic care. And I'm embarrassed to tell my chiropractor how it all got started. Well, 9 months later, we were reloading the moving van to move back to Ohio. Honest, this is true. An adult man came up and said, "Ma'am." "Yes, sir." "Mr. Jeffers was walking his pet boa constrictors this morning, and one is loose in the neighborhood." Well, snakes has always been one of my phobia. And I have the most darling little grandchildren. They figured this out very young. They put rubber snakes in the shower, rubber snakes in my bed, rubber snakes in drawers. Don't they say criminals start out by torturing animals and little old ladies? It's okay, I'm forgiving. I'm a good grandma. I will bring them home-cooked food in the snake pit. Well, I don't know if you're aware, but gone are the days that homes have pets with Fluffy and Rover. I had a job where the hospital sent me out to do home visits, maternal infant assessments, and I have learned what kind of pets are there. Not only are there snakes, I have seen ferrets, I've seen alligators, and this was in Ohio, okay? I've seen alligators, I've seen iguana, but the one that I will never forget was the sugar glider. Any of you have a pet sugar glider?
I don't know what it is.
You do?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay, you know what it is, okay. They're real little, aren't they? Yeah, they're cute. This one was about 5 to 6 inches long. Looks like a cross between a chipmunk and raccoon eyes and bat fins. The reason they're called gliders, they could glide in the air like the distance of half of a soccer ball field. Wow. So I had this couple in my Lamaze childbirth class, and they had come to all 6 classes, and on class 6, I found out that they had brought their sugar glider. Every class, tucked in her bra, little sugar glider. Well, I'm not a good businesswoman, obviously, because I could have charged them for 3 students instead of 2. But their birth plan. Now, I'm real respectful of birth plans. I am. I've taught childbirth classes for 42 years and gone to births, and I'm very, very open-minded. But part of their birth plan was to include the sugar glider as their birthing team. This was a hospital birth, by the way. I can just imagine, this woman's labored 18 hours. She's given birth to this adorable little baby. And this certified nurse midwife goes to present this little one to her to help latch on, and surprise! This is why healthcare costs are out of control. This is it. I'm telling you, this is why. Now we have to have the sugar glider special diet from the kitchen. We have to have an extra nurse call light on the bed. We have to have a sugar glider translator. This is why our healthcare costs are out of control. Well, one more move in my lifetime, and I hope it's our last move. My sweetie and I moved here to St. Petersburg, Florida, to retire. In the first month, we were celebrating that we had saved our money for retirement. Second month, we were looking for employment. Now, I'm a baby boomer, but I tend to be a millennial when it comes to looking for a job. Now, not the millennials in my family, they're not like this, all right? I want to make that clear. Other millennials. I want to start out with a job that's high paying. I want a job that's no experience expected. I want a job with little effort or work, right? I found 3. If you're interested, one is the odor testers. Deodorant companies pay armpit sniffers. Seriously. Put that on your resume. I mean, that stinks. The second one I found, now this is an honorable profession, but I will never apply for it. It's the snake milkers. Yes, they're lifesavers. They milk venom out of snakes. Good pay, not a lot of physical work, but doesn't cover funerals there. And the last one that I found was, and this is perplexing to me that there's a need for this, pet food tasters. My stepson Sean was visiting one day, and I offered him hummus on a cracker, and he went, "No, thank you." Well, then I accidentally dropped hummus on a cracker on the floor, and our little dog who eats anything came over, sniffed, and went, Sean went, "Point made. That dog will eat his own poop and not hummus." So, still looking for a job. My last embarrassing moment to share with you, last one. Last year, my sweetie and I had a lot of physical challenges. He had a bulging disc in his back and needed surgery on both wrists for carpal tunnel. I had a torn tendon in my foot, osteoarthritis in a knee, vertigo, lumbar spinal surgery. Well, it just didn't seem wise that we would drive to Louisville for Christmas that year. So we got the cheap tickets with the cheap airline. You know, the airline that your tickets pay for a 6-inch wide seat. The airline that there's no leg room. The airline that it pays for a pilot, but no plane repairs. Some of you have been on that airline. That's where we got our tickets. We got to the airport, walk in, and my sweetie says, "Margaret, would you like me to get you a wheelchair?" And I said, "No, it's a small airport, we'll be fine." So we hobble and limp over to TSA with vertigo, praying nobody reports us for intoxication. And the TSA man says, "Ma'am, take off your shoes. Well, I'm sorry. This is a big deal. I have a boot brace. I have compression socks. I have shoes that lace up to my waist. I am not taking off my shoes. And I remember my daughter saying, Mom, just lie and say you're 75 and they aren't required to make you take your shoes off. I have two problems with that. First, what woman is going to say they're 2 years older than they are? And second, I have a pet peeve about lying. So I said, Sir, I heard that at a certain age you don't have to take your shoes off. And he said, what age is that, ma'am? I said, I heard it was 75. Go on through. So I look back, and there's my sweetie. He has taken off his shoes, his belt, his winter coat, his jacket, his cardigan. We layer the same luggage, okay? And he's practically stripped, and he gives me a frown, and I just... So we get over to the boarding gate, and they say, anyone who needs assistance boarding or extra time can board now. And so he says, Margaret, don't you think we should? I said, no, we'll be fine. So we get at the front of the line, the door opens. Now, the cheap tickets with the cheap airline means that the plane is on the tarmac like a third world country. And the people who needed assistance and extra time, they're going up a wide ramp assisted by the nice flight attendants and then motioned us to the back of the plane. We go back. These stairs are not like the wide stairs that Joe Biden cartwheels down. These are like a ladder. I'm determined. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All things through Christ who strengthens me. Halfway up the ladder is not a good time to decide this was a bad idea. Where are the inflatable aircraft slides when you need them? Well, after the flight attendant assisted me to my seat, here comes Sweetie, and he gives me the look. The I told you so look. And I said, but aren't you glad I had my new floral print little backpack? It's all about the presentation.